Thanks for staying with us here on TVC Breakfast. It's not time for us to look at what the papers are reporting this morning. I'll be doing this with my colleagues, Veronica, Etoma, and Ria. Guys, interesting conversation we'll be having for this segment because of the interesting, headlines, or let me say scintillating headlines. Yeah, so the first headline here is for the Nation newspaper. Stop giving political meaning to judicial matters, says AGF. And the writer reads, let's wait for judicial pronouncement on emergency declaration in Rivers. Minister woos French investors with Nigeria's pro-business reforms. I take that again. Minister woos French investors with Nigeria's pro-business reforms. Above the masthead, African Development Bank floats $100 million entrepreneurship investment bank for youths. Labour Party battle shifts to Anambra with parallel candidates. Dangote refinery slashes petrol ex-depot price to 865. How to achieve stable power by Bath Naji. And on the bottom strip, we have brace for flooding in Lagos, FCT, Oyo, Delta, 26 others. This is according to NIMET warning states. All of these items on the front page of the Nation newspaper are also spread across all of the papers. So we'll take them one step at a time. But let's start with the banner headline here with the Nation newspaper, stop giving political meanings to judicial matters, says AGF. So we know that whenever, Veronica, I would like to start with you, whenever we go to court, no, not me, but I mean when you have politicians going to court, you have TV TV councils, coming, giving their own understanding. That is even fine because I know majority of the television stations will not bring people who are not expert, but you have people on social media, on the street saying, no, this is the way it should go. Even after the judgment, they will say, no, that is faulted without having legal knowledge about this.
But they'll tell you they are expressing their rights as it is. So they have a right to speak in whichever direction they want to speak. It's based on their interpretation and understanding and where they are seated, because your sitting position determines how you see certain issues and then can analyze it. And then your knowledge also of the law and the position of the law regarding that matter will also determine how you analyze that matter. And I like the fact that the AGF is making this statement, because since 2023 elections, we have been seeing a number of persons interpret all sorts of things, the judgments in court, and they are saying, oh, the judiciary is taking over, our democracy, where the people no longer where the vote of people no longer count and all of it. But this time is looking at the matter in Rivers State, saying you do not really understand what the situation is. We, from our position, we are seeing what is going on behind the scene, and we are seeing what had happened, and we are saying, okay, this is the step to go. That is why we decided to declare a state of emergency. So, but it's important for our democracy that we understand how we give these kinds of interpretation, because it goes to, influence the way people see the government, the way people, relate with whatever the government is doing. Talk about trust, the deficit of trust. We've been talking about that over the years. But what I want government to do is to be strategic in the way it communicates with the people, such that we can have this matter of trust resolved as quickly as possible. On this matter, I think that a lot of persons still do not understand why government took that step. So if government can begin to educate people, it will be good.
That's right. So, Etoma, interesting. So the thing is, should we begin to look inward and ask ourselves, am I approaching this matter with emotions? Sometimes I even ask myself, are judge emotionally, disconnected from the judgment they give, especially when it has to do with something that bothers on maybe one way or the other affect them?
My first reaction will be that judges should interpret their judgment in layman terms. You see most of this political...
they are sentencing you to death, and then you're just looking, you don't even know.
You don't really know what they're saying, because they are twisting it here, twisting it there, and all that. Somebody says, give me an orange. If you get a lawyer to say that, oh boy, you will have him talk for 5 minutes. Those judgments are very lengthy, and at a point, they confuse anybody. at the end of the day, there should be some kind of interpretation of the judgment in layman terms so that everybody will understand what is being said. And forestall this situation where lawyer A will interpret it this way, lawyer B will interpret it the other way. And that's why it looks as if these decisions are politicized at the end of the day. Come down to us. If that judgment has to do with the people, if that judgment has to do with political parties, has to do with anything, bring the English down. Speak English.
Yeah, and I think judges, especially courts, are now doing so well. They are removing the legalese, out of the judgments so that people will understand. But we still have politicians giving their own interpretation. We saw what is coming out from.
They'll always do that.
That's what they say. Explain to me like a little baby, so I understand. But also talking about how people interpret things. If you hear a man on the road interpret what has happened in Rivers, you'll be shaking like a war is almost coming. And he said something as well. He said, when you need answers, go to the Constitution. And I think that that's something that we really need to do. Because a lot of times people say things with emotions. I know that we live in a country whereby there's freedom of speech, but some of the things that people are saying about stuff, you see that it's just from emotions. You've not even read the Constitution, you don't understand what is going on, but from your emotions, you feel like this is it. So I think that this is a good call as well, because in a country whereby also everything is politicized, anything that happens, oh, he did this because of this, he did this because of this. I feel like if we really go to the Constitution sometimes and check, we will find these answers rather than finding the answers within ourselves.
Do you realize that about a good percentage of Nigerians don't know how to access the Constitution?
Don't even understand or know how
to read it. They don't know how to see it. They've never seen it in their lives. They don't know how to access it and all that. So if something comes, an average Nigerian doesn't know how to go to the Constitution to confirm it. So we should, I think it's our duty to tell them that, look, it's online.
Look,
you can buy it, you can do this, you can do that.
Google, iOS.
You get them in
Quickly
different
before
formats,
you move from that story, I think we should also touch on the politicians who also champion this conversation on politicizing issues as well. They also need to look inward and look at, is it in the interest of the country? Is it in the interest of your community? Or you're just trying to drive your own selfish interest at the end of the day, because they wield so much influence on these people. So it's also important that we bring them to the table as well. They play a major role in our democracy, in our politicking as a country, and so should be admonished as well to know how they put forward their arguments in such a way that it is not putting the people, the party, anyone in jeopardy at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Minister woos French investors with Nigeria's pro-business reforms. So we're getting different investors coming into the country, talking to them and see how they can invest in our economy. Nigeria News Direct is next. Labour Party in turmoil as Abure faction accuses Obi Otti of power grab. Says only National Secretary Chairman can convene NEC. We do not know how Labour Party, this agreement or Hulabalu is going to, pan out at the end of the day. We have just 2027, right? If you step out of this premises,
there's another
election coming, and then we are having even two candidates, parallel candidates, coming up from the Anambra, what's it called, governorship election. So I do not know what exactly is going on.
Ah, boy. I think it's the same dance we see anytime election is around the corner.
The same dance? The macabre dance?
Sorry. We have all sorts of controversies. They come, at times it is tiring to even hear about some of these controversies that come up just before elections. And somehow, by the time it's election day, these things are resolved. How they do it, I don't know. It goes to show that some of these controversies are deliberate. It's not because of one thing or the other. I really don't get it. It's always there. And it has happened across parties. Unfortunately, Labour Party right now is the one that's championing the whole controversy in the political space. I just hope they find a solution before the election.
And I just hope it's not deliberate as well, because this is too much to be orchestrated by them.
That's right. So you have, the dramatis personae, Otti, Obi, Abure, and then we had Apapa yesterday on our channel, on our show yesterday. You know, and mention all of them. We even had one of the senators also giving his own perspective. And we have the NLC, you know, fighting for which of the parts of the party they are going to go home with.
Everybody wants to grab a piece of the party. But it's unfortunate. That's how I'll put it. It's unfortunate to see this. I wouldn't think that it's deliberate. It's about individual interest here that it's playing out. And this matter did not just start yesterday. Neither did it start today. It's been on since 2023. They couldn't manage the shocks, I guess, and a lot of things as a fallout of the outcome of the 2023 election. And so these issues have been perennial. PDP too is having its own issue, and the matter did not start today. Yeah. So it's not something that it's just happening. So I would not say it's deliberate. It's that they are unable to look inward to resolve their issues.
That's right.
And nobody wants to step down for the other.
That's right.
All of them are saying, it is my own, it is my own.
Which is very
Sorry,
scary.
Brian, before you go to the next paper. Every party has a constitution. And the constitution explains every situation. Yeah. All party members that are big enough to run for governorship have copies of those constitutions. So why don't they just read the constitution?
Selfish interest.
That's why we say internal democracy is something that all of these political parties do lack, you know, because if they entrench internal democracy, then they can, you know, operate it on a larger scale when they get into power. But when we are seeing this, I do not know why we should entrust anyone.
But just to add to it, Ibrahim, I feel like if they continue with their selfish interest, this party will come down. And even with what Etoma was saying, that before the election, things are going to be okay. With the way Labour Party are going, if one person is not stepping down for one person, they might be a disaster.
They just must agree.
There would be a disaster.
Before we move to the other paper, Ria and Veronica and all of us would like to react to this. LASU's top graduate gets 10 million naira gift from Governor Sanwo-Olu. So this is, what's it called? Ensuring that we have students who go to school just to encourage them to do more and all of that, as against not mentioning the name of any show, but we all know where we're going, where we have people, what sells obscenity and all of that, and then they're going home with 200 million, 100 million, whether in Nigeria or anywhere in the world. So we should continue to encourage this. What do you think?
I think this should really be encouraged. I saw the story, and if we also know that Governor Sanwo-Olu is really particular about education, we can see that he loves education. And when you do this, it makes other people want to study hard. In an era whereby people don't want to go to school anymore, people believe that your certificate...
Some saying education is a scam.
Exactly. People will say your certificate will not do anything for you at the end of the day. So seeing the top student take this will be able to motivate others that if this person can have this, maybe the governor or other officials will even do more for me. So I'm really happy that he was able to do this for the person, making young ones believe that education is definitely not a scam. Without education, all of us will not be here today. So we really need to make sure that our youths understand that when you read, when you study, when you come out with flying colors, there's definitely a price.
So, and then you also know that there are still some schools, almighty old institutions, when you graduate first class, and then the next thing they give you, I know I'm not mentioning
they give you what is what?
Cup.
Oh no!
Something give 500 naira.
Oh no! It's not possible, Ibrahim.
I'll show you. One of our producers graduated first class. Ask her some of the things. No, she got something close to 2.5 billion naira. But there are some other things, you know, scholarship and all of that. And ask for how much is the price.
No, but you see, it's because there was one that a politician also, I do not want to mention the level and all of that. Yeah, the person handed over a cup to the person, and the pictures were taken.
That's supposed to be an award.
Yes,
no, wait, the person was a first class student and he gave me a cup. I wouldn't take it.
No, it could be that the cup is...
Or maybe a gold-plated cup.
The cup has a genie, so when the person... You know,
no, guess what? I think there was money in the cup. Maybe there was money in the cup.
But I think our governors should borrow a leaf from this move. We know that some state governors do that, especially at certain levels, but they can do more at encouraging young persons to, you know, get in education and do. This is what we want to see, really. This is what we want, people encouraging young persons, because a lot of them had given up on education, like you rightly pointed out, and feel that, you know what, doing whatever, being obscene on social media, doing and all of that would give them, you know, the numbers and the money they are looking out for. But you see, when you have an education, it gives you an edge over every other person. So it's important that we encourage them in any way we can.
That's right.
Anybody that says that education is a scam exam.
That
person needs his or her head examined. Education is, if you think illiteracy, education is expensive, try illiteracy. And then you will see that even if you're a trillionaire and you do not have education, there's something missing. I also think that all states should have something.
A budget?
Yes, a budget, and make a lot of noise about it. That look, if you achieve this kind of results, you have access to so amount of money. It should be there.
That's right.
So everybody knows
they
that.
Aspire.
Yes, they aspire to get that prize. They aspire to do this. We should encourage things like that, because the way our children are going, it's really, really bad. Like what you mentioned, social media saying doing all sorts of things, and they are making money. Yet they are illiterate. At the end of the day, they still have a big question mark. You know, there are places they'll go to and they'll realize that, look, money can't help me here. Education should have.
Exactly, because I remember there was a story where a young girl was telling me that, you know, I will just be an influencer. I don't need to go to school.
Definitely.
So these are things that we really need to,
influencer,
you know, because they make money actually.
Yeah, sure. Well, interesting. That's what I'm going to say. Nigerian Tribune is next. Growing disaffection in PDP puts party's future in doubt. May NEC meeting in limbo. National leadership unable to meet, act, and then postpones North Central, Southwest Congresses. This is supposed to be the largest political party, so they pride themselves. They spent like 16 years in power, and then they said they were going to rule for like 60 years, and then, you know, as luck will have it, the fate got, you know, cut short. But now we're expecting that we have a viral opposition. We just talked about the Labour Party. Now we're having the PDP, and then we used to have the G5, because some of the governors that they have currently, some of them are dissociating themselves from the national secretary. But we still have Sheyi Makinde, one way or the other, you know, saying that I recognize him and all of that. But so what happened to the G5? What happened to?
The question I would ask is, how come we're having so much crisis with the parties that are supposed to give us a viable opposition? PDP is having crisis, Labour Party is having crisis. Other parties, we only hear about them when there's election. You know, so the real two parties that should have been the opposition are embroiled in one controversy or another. Well, can't say more than that.
That's very sad. Veronica?
Well, for me, I think that we give certain parties too much credit. There are other parties in opposition. Where are they? That's my question.
Exactly.
Because when you look at the ballot paper, you see a number of parties, ZPP, different things, different names. I don't want to confuse myself. So I just think that these parties should be the ones on our lips right now. They are the ones we should be talking about, and leave these ones to sort themselves. I think it's because the media is giving them so much attention and covering whatever it is that is going on. They are feeling, you know what, whether we put our house together, we'll still get the media coverage. Let's give attention to other parties who are trying perhaps to, you know, find their way up there for people to work with. What are you doing yourselves at this point? Why are you not taking advantage of what is going on? Let's begin to see them come up at this point. I'm tired of talking about the PDP. I'm tired of talking about Labour Party. I just want to talk about any other party apart from these two.
But my question to Veronica is that, are they even doing enough for the media to...
What is enough?
No, they are creating content for us to talk about. This is one of the things.
No, I'm talking about the other parties.
I understand.
I get your question, but what is enough? We are the ones that decide what is enough. If you look at the media, we try to follow a particular slant. Or if you are not being dramatic, if you are not doing something out there, we cannot pay attention to you. Why can't we get people out of these other parties and start asking them questions? What are you doing now? Where are your offices? Have you put in place what is needed to ensure that you are a vibrant opposition? Why do you wait till 2027 before you come out and then you are insisting INEC must put you on the ballot paper when you were so
quiet during the time?
Yes.
All right then.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, quickly share
what I was going to say is that if you are not available, the press won't see you.
Exactly.
You know, these guys are just not available.
At least you can't be in the dark and be winking to
the only other party I have in my head now is YPP. And the YPP, who are the officials? We do not see them.
Nothing, no news.
It's difficult to report
it's only
something.
in the build up to the
Election that we'll now start hearing a chieftain in this party, a chieftain in that party. Before then, what happens?
When they were supposed to be taking leverage that this is happening.
We saw the names of those that were on the ballot boxes, right?
Yes.
So we can look for them. Investigation.
Over to you, Veronica.
Investigation. It's called investigative journalism. Find them. No, it's true.
It's just like saying our party is good, our party is the best. You know, just like you know, looking at a beautiful lady standing in the dark and winking.
Do you understand how is that possible?
Right. Yeah. Let's move on to the next paper, which is the Punch newspaper. Veronica, this story will suit you. I mean, you enjoy the story. You like to hear the story.
Why do you think that I will enjoy this story?
Okay,
because you've spoken about it quite a number of times.
Ladies and gentlemen, marketers predict cheaper petrol nationwide as Dangote begins Naira sale, and then refinery slashes loading cost to 865 Naira after Naira for crude deal. Fuel depot prices to fall.
But I think Vero will finally be happy.
Finally,
when she hears that it's 500 Naira a liter.
No.
We're getting
there. Baby steps, and I believe that we are getting there. But frankly speaking, when I saw the story yesterday, I was happy that government is listening to our conversations here on this table, because we kept harping on this matter that government needs to do something about this Naira for crude deal, and that Nigerians need to have a sense of direction moving forward. And here we are. Government has said yesterday, we even took that story, that the deal has come to stay. And Dangote responded immediately by dropping 15 Naira from the price, the original price. Now we see that the price is still hovering between 900 and something, 915 or so. Yeah. But I think that as we move forward, we'll see further reduction in the prices in the coming days, but it is a good way to start. And I like the fact that this new board was also listening, and they are taking actions and acting immediately. So we're hoping that, you know, those affiliated to the refinery will begin, that's the stations, filling stations that are affiliated to Dangote refinery will begin to, you know, reflect the prices as quickly as possible. That's right. And then others too will do same at the end of the day. Exactly. Price wars are not things that we like. Let me just add that
even
one.
Even though it happens. And we will fill our tank now.
Before you come in, you know, the government actually said one thing that is very, very lovely. He said, that this is a key policy change, not a temporary fix. And that's the good news for me then.
That's a lot of good news. And I just like the fact that they're listening, like you said. We've said so many things about it, and you can see changes are being made. And also to the new board, I will say kudos to them, because we're seeing good changes and it's a step in the right direction. And if you read yesterday, Mr. Edo has also said that it has come to stay. It's not leaving, it has come to stay. So we're hoping that these prices will go very low, that we can fill our tanks and every Nigerian will be happy like it's supposed to.
What I like about
sorry, before you come in, if you look at the global oil price, global oil price is actually coming down. It's crashing, and then I think it's now less than $60 per barrel, and that, according to marketers, are saying that we might, you know, begin to see the price of petrol coming down so fast, so much so that we might see 400 Naira.
And that is why I want to point out the sacrifice that the federal government is doing by this Naira.
Crude for Naira deal.
Naira for crude deal.
Or crude for Naira deal.
Yes. You do Naira for crude deal.
Yeah.
It reduces the amount of foreign exchange you get from the petroleum sector. That's a sacrifice the federal government is doing.
That's right.
Now, if the international price of oil is going down, it means we are not making as much as we are used to, or we would have made if it was $75 per barrel. And we still have the federal government saying this Naira for crude deal is a permanent thing. So I just want to commend the federal government for the sacrifice. And I'm finally seeing a government that is people-oriented and not as selfish as the ones we've seen before.
At least it used to be, you know, removal of fuel subsidy had only been a campaign point for all of these politicians back in the day. But people had been asking the question, who is ready or who was ready to bail the count? And then we had this administration, the president, out of his script, out of the blues, saying that fuel subsidy is gone. Now it has now been aligned with, global fuel price. Now, let's move on to Blueprint newspaper. 2025 flood forecast. Benue, Lagos, Rivers, Jigawa, FCT, 26 other states at high risk. So another paper reported 30 states, other reported 33 states. So what's the difference between 6 and half a dozen?
Well,
eventually all the nation will be
the
experiencing
issue.
flood.
The issue is that the flood is here.
flood
See
is
the
here.
rains yesterday.
I understand we have just a few minutes.
Yes, I'll quickly touch on it. See the rains yesterday, the impacts are on the road, especially Lagos roads, flash floods here and there. I think that the Lagos State Government needs to quickly do something, especially on that axis, that entry towards the Independence Bridge. There's always water there. I think that Lagos State Government needs to do something quickly to addressing that, and also any other areas we know will have flash floods.
Right, let's move on to the next paper. This Nigeria is next, and interesting development. We're beginning to hear from the Senate President. Probe Akpoti Uduahan's assassination allegation against me, Akpabio tells IGP. So the Senate President seems to now, you know, he started fighting back. One way or the other, you know, all of the allegations going around.
Accuses in one.
That was really funny, Accuses in one. I'm happy he has finally found his voice concerning this.
No, I think it was just being mature. It was just being mature about it.
You think so?
No,
there are ways you want to be mature, and you end up looking guilty.
To fester around you.
Yes. So now that he's talking, good. Let's see how Act 2 Scene 1 will be.
So now I feel like now that he's speaking, this is when the evidence will now start rolling out.
Hopefully.
Well, evidences are meant to be presented.
I can't wait
in
to
court.
see.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the evidence, actually.
That's all I want to hear.
Ladies and gentlemen, Platform Times is next. UTME mock outrage in Ogun, Lagos, as students' parents stranded for hours, and 180 students paid 30,000 naira each for question papers. That's according to JAM. So we're having people cutting corners already for mock exams. That is not going to grant you admission. It's just for the, you know, just like a test run. And some people are already paying.
Who gave them the money to pay? Somebody gave them money to pay.
Who took the money from them?
JAM said they are rogue website. JAM now decided to also design his own rogue website. And then they had about 180 students paying 30,000 naira.
And I'm saying, who gave those students the monies to pay? Some parents, I'll have to call out parents this morning. Some parents, you know, aid their children in doing some of these things. Yes, we know that there are young persons who go at the whole length to find monies to pay for this, but we also know about parents. I've seen parents follow their children to, you know, write these kinds of exams and also want to see how the examiners can just make things easy for their children. We need to do better.
You can't be a criminal at this early age, because like how? This is
At
really...
what age can you become a criminal?
You should never become a criminal, but it's even scary at this age. You want to start criminal activities. Like, you are too young. Wait first, Stephen.
It reminds me of a line that Tunji Braithwaite used when he was running for presidency many years back. He said that the Nigerian society is going through moral decadence paralysis. And that is what is happening. That's what is showing right now. It's really unfortunate that it's happening.
For just an exam that will not even take you to another level, you cannot read. This is sad.
At least try hard so that you can win. Someone will lose 10 million naira when you graduate.
Because of that 10 million, me, I want to even go back to school.
All right, Sporting Life is last here with me. Man United summer transfers. Holland's sale fuels Osimhen's move. That's page 7. And then you also have Shell meets with Emmanuel Emega, urges striker to play for Nigeria. Nwabali Okoye missing. And then we have Man United battle Bayern Munich for 60 million pounds, rated Verbruggen. Bayern urged to sign Grealish, and Onana's errors deny Red Devils win. Interesting headlines here on the front pages of the newspapers. A teenager George scores first Blues goal, but we understand that we have to go because of our time. Guys,
but I just wanted to quickly touch on Super Eagles coach Eric Shell, looking to boost the team. ahead of the Unity Cup that is coming up later on in May. We'll go head-to-head against Ghana, Jamaica, and some other.
Why did you say Ghana?
I can't watch that much because I'm supporting Nigeria half, I'm supporting Ghana half, so I'm in the middle.
Either way, we're gonna defeat you.
We are Ghana.
We are Ghana defeat Ghana.
It's just Unity Cup. It's just Unity Cup. Right. So it's just something you want to do in preparation ahead of another match. That's the FIFA World Cup. So they just try to boost the team to see what changes he can make and all of that.
That's right.
It will be good to see.
Well, we hope we've been able to update Nigerians, on what the papers are reporting this morning. We've tried our best. So let's move on